This programme is the Petro-Canada Lubricants Porsche Club Championship with Pirelli. A very warm welcome along to the fourth programme in the 2021 season for the Petro-Canada Lubricants Porsche Club Championship with Pirelli. As you can see, we are at Oulton Park. The weather looks like it might be a little bit of a lottery today, so there's plenty of thinking as well as preparation to be done down in the paddock. And as we look forward to rounds 7 and 8 of the championship, let's have a quick look back at how they arrive here. Simon Clark, the championship leader in Class 1, ahead of Pete Morris with Mark McAleer in third from James CALEY. Kyle-Henney is the leader of Class 2, ahead of Paul Simpson. Carl Hazelton in third, Kevin Molyneux in fourth, and he's ahead of Andy Muggeridge. Porsche Club Championship Classic Boxsters headed by Will Heslop from Alistair Nelson and Richard Forber.
So Matt, Oulton Park, here we are, traditionally wet when we come here. How did qualifying go?
Yeah, it was good. It's going to be tight at the top. I think there's a 10th between me and Paul, my little teammate next to me. We go reasonably well here in the dry, but we're not sure if it's going to be slicks or wet yet. So.
But there's only 4 points between you and actually the Class 1 leader. Traditionally before, we've seen the Class 2 win the overall championship, and I take it that's your aim.
Yeah, definitely. I'm closer to that championship than I am to P2 in Class 2, so yeah, my sights are thoroughly on that top spot.
Now I was going to start by asking if you like this circuit, but clearly you must do. P1.
P1, yeah, my first ever pole as well, so yeah, really pleased with that. Bit of a surprise. I sort of came in halfway through, put a couple of good laps in when it was wet early on in quali. Came in, car, we sort of made some changes to set up on the car, which felt a bit funny, but for me, but still seem to be getting the times out of the car. We've now got a drying track, so my first pole is going to be sort of, I think we're going to sneak around on slicks and try and find a dry line somewhere around the circuit. So see how we get on.
Now, Richard John Neal tells me that your 99th podium was at Snetterton, which sort of puts a bit of a landmark 100th podium of your career coming up. Maybe this weekend, maybe not. I don't want you to go with
stats. I keep listening to him on the touring cars and everything, whatever he says. And I don't know how he does it. He must have a catalogue at home.
He never sleeps.
Yeah, so yes, I'm going to go for a podium this weekend. And that trophy will be, so right on that trophy, that's my 100th podium trophy. And that'll mean a lot to me, yeah.
10 points between you and Simon in the championship, so obviously that's where your main focus is.
Yeah, I mean, I was hoping to get, I need a couple of first places, at least one here. I need Mr. Clark to come 4th or 5th. But I see I want a first, so there's going to be some right good battles today. So.
Carl, it's been a while since we caught up with you. How's your racing career been going so far?
We haven't had some fantastic results yet. We're third in the championship at the moment, so so it's not worked out too badly because we've been consistently scoring points and finishing races.
Home circuit, is it one you know well?
Yes, I love the circuit, it's superb. In the wet, it's not fun really at all. So we had a good test day yesterday in the dry, put some good times in.
Now, we didn't see you last year because of COVID. It took a lot of people out in various ways and they couldn't race. You've done a couple of years beforehand, but doesn't that make you rusty when you first come back?
Yeah, it's taken a bit more time to get used to, and I've got a different car now. I'm running in Class 2, so getting used to slicks as well is another dimension. But yeah, we're trying our best. I can't catch the guys in the top 3 there, just away and gone. Yet, yeah. So we'll try our best.
I bet it's been a while since we'd had a chat. How's your racing career going so far?
Yeah, it's been going okay. I think this year's been a few ups and downs. Sort of brands had a bit of an off, but managed to get it back for Snet. So it's all been going okay. I do favour the wet a bit with the wet in my car. The brakes tend to go off a bit. So going around in the wet, I don't really have that issue. It's great fun. Everyone who races are lovely people. It's nice to have a chat. After any quali or any testing, it's just nice to have a chat, and everyone tries to help out. So it's just good fun. There's nothing more to it really. It's just good crack and with some really nice people.
I'll tell you what, if there's one driver who needs some decent luck this weekend, it's Bill CALEY. Lines up in 3rd position in Class 2, 11th on the grid overall. But congratulations to James CALEY on taking his first pole position. Simon Clark, the championship leader, alongside Jake McAleer and Pete Morris on row 2. Mark McAleer and Chris Dyer next up. Class 2 headed by the class championship leader Matt Kyle-Henney from Paul Simpson. Bill CALEY, as we mentioned, 3rd from Jesse Chamberlain. Class 3 headed by Richard Forber, who's got some Class 1 and 2 cars between himself and Mike Thompson, who is 2nd. Alistair Nelson 3rd from Stephen Shaw. And a word out for Will Heslop, who had issues, not able to get out and set a time in qualifying. He starts right at the back in 31st place on the grid, so Will Heslop's got some work to do. Round 7 of the championship is underway. Bill CALEY, I said he needed luck. He stalled on the grid, or the car has failed him on the grid. Now has everybody got past him? Great start by James CALEY. But Bill CALEY stranded on the grid. Such a shame. When are his woes going to end? Hats off to everybody for negotiating his car stalled on the grid, and also for making turn 1. The race is not won on the first corner, and that is very clearly in the mindset of everybody here. Great start though by James CALEY, who leads. Simon Clark 2nd. Podium Pete Morris up into 3rd. Then it's Jake McAleer 4th. Richard BAYSTON comes through in 5th position from 8th on the grid. So a super start by Richard BAYSTON as they go along Lakeside for the first time. This the view that James CALEY is going to be cherishing, and it is open track as he leads round 7 of the championship here at Oulton Park. Chris Dyer on the outside line of Mark McAleer goes into the Shell Oils hairpin, trying to make a move in green there. Chasing the yellow and black car of Matt Kyle-Henney is Kevin Molyneux. Kevin and the team having a fair amount of work to do to get him back on track after an early doors exit at Snetterton in race 1, very, very sadly, but he's made of strong stuff and he's back. So Kevin Molyneux looking to, I think now, obviously avoid DNFs. Everyone's going to be looking to do that anyway over the course of the season, to mean that he hasn't really got any more drop scores that he can afford. In car with Richard BAYSTON, so 5th position here. Lovely onboard shot coming up Clay Hill under the footbridge. Many footbridges around the track. This is one of the best tracks to come and spend a day watching maybe endurance racing and watch races from different parts of the circuit, either on the inside of the track or the outside. It's picturesque. The racing's always fantastic, and if Porsches are here, even better. And that's what a lot of people are doing today. Wonderful to see so many people back with us now as things get relaxed. We're outdoors. Everybody's being sensible here at MSV, run by Dr. Jonathan Palmer, who of course knows what he's doing in terms of the circuit. Always provided medically safe circuits for me. There was always hand wash well before COVID at Dr. Palmer's tracks, as Angus ARCHER looks to make a move on Will Heslop. We've got a car looking as if it might be pit bound. So Heslop coming through to the back of the grid, but it's James CALEY still out front at the moment, just going through shot with Scott Adams. Welcome back to the championship, Scott. Used to be in the rest of racing Class 3s, now known as the Classic Mark 3s, and the Porsche Centre Cardiff car, if my memory serves correctly. So up into the hairpin again. Top 4 breaking away from 5th place. So Jake McAleer getting away from Richard BAYSTON. Then it's his dad, Mark McAleer. Rich Ellis, former champion Chris Dyer in the Strasser red and black liveried Cayman is next up. In the top 8, any one of those drivers capable of taking an outright win for sure. It is rich with talent. All 3 classes rich with talent, to be perfectly honest. James CALEY coming under a little bit of pressure. We look back, 9th position in white is Jesse Chamberlain. So Jesse leading the class, had a good start in Class 2. Another talented driver joining the ranks of Class 2. All of the classes really have had great battles this year, and it's one of the beauties of this championship, the fact that we've got 3 different classes battling it out. Sure, everyone wants to be in Class 1, battling it out for overall honours, but you know, you can come in now as looking for the lead here. Simon Clark has a little look down the inside line, goes back to the outside to try and get some momentum out of Lodge Corner through Deer Leap. Pete Morris was alerted to that as well, gets on his tail now, he goes to the inside line, the Thomson Reuters Cayman goes through into the lead. Simon Clark leads. James CALEY in second, Pete Morris is in third place. Dip back a little bit further, Julian MORRIS coming under pressure from Angus Archer. Will Heslop in the Pink Pig, of course the Class 3 championship leader. Super battle between Morris and Archer. We ride on board with Julian MORRIS. Outside line here, have a look across. When we come back now, look across, I was going to say, to the left. Angus Archer goes through. Good move by Angus in the number 70 Boxster. Had his first podium of the season in race 2 at Snetterton. So the top 4 continuing to break away, coming through the Britain's chicane. James CALEY still in a good second position. He had a podium in race 1 at Snetterton last visit, 5th of June. And I was commenting how good it is to see the crowds here. Well, it's good to see a battle going on here. Rich Ellis and Chris Dyer still battling it out. The Cayman can't quite go through the Strasser Miller's Oils car. Chris Dyer, the first driver to take a race win in this championship in the Cayman. Alistair Nelson with Stephen Shaw in tow there. Alistair running up at the head in Class 3. Podium battling in Class 3, I should say, was the winner of race 2. He's an ever-present on the podium thus far, as James CALEY sadly comes into pit lane. James CALEY, the pole position man from second on the grid, goes into a possible retirement as Mark McAleer looks to try and get a position back on Richard BAYSTON here at Oulton Park. Well, the good news is that James CALEY is rejoining the race from the pit lane. The bad news is he's lost a lot of time, so he'll just go away, I think, from race 1 thinking, you know, well done on getting pole position, led the race initially, but it's not to be in this one. There is Scott Adams back with us, being chased by Sarah Thompson. Into pit lane, I think for the second time, comes Stephen Morrison. I don't know if he'll come out again this time, but down in 9th position in the classic Boxster class. Good race on for 4th place here. Richard BAYSTON, remember, started 8th under pressure from the Wilson's Auctions 997 of Mark McAleer. Oulton Park, never the easiest track to execute a pass, so you've really got to think about it. It also helps if whoever you're racing with respects what you're doing. I'm sure we do see that in this championship a great deal. But passing never the easiest at Oulton Park. McAleer coming offline now and having a look. He's got a good run as they head up towards Druids. He's on the inside. Look at the space between the cars. That's what I was talking about regarding respect, and a super pass there. Richard BAYSTON realised that Mark McAleer had got an excellent run and goes through. Richard BAYSTON now in 4th, Mark McAleer 4th, Richard BAYSTON 5th. Matt Kyle-Henney goes through shot, then Kevin Molyneux. Up ahead of Kevin Molyneux is Paul Seagrave in Class 1. Peter Evans, consistent runner in the classic Class 3 class, running well. And Cole Hazelton up ahead of a hard-charging Alistair Nelson. So Nelson making a little bit of progress through the field in Class 3. Cole Hazelton, remember, is in Class 2. These two will have raced in Class 3 years ago. And Nelson's mission here is to try and get through and close down on the black and yellow car of Mike Thompson and have a battle for 3rd place. Thompson running in 3rd position at the moment. Another look at Peter Evans. recorded a 4th place in race 2 at Brands Hatch on the 1st of May. Our overall leader is still Simon Clark, Pete Morris 2nd, Jake McAleer is next up. Jake's dad, Mark, starting to build a little bit of a lead over this trio, dicing it out for 5th place. So Mark McAleer getting his head down. Always quick, Mark. Just, again, had a super start to the year. 2 wins, of course, at Donington Park. 2nd at Brands race 1, 3rd in race 2. It all went a little bit pear-shaped at Snetterton with a 14th and a non-finish. So those will be removed from the equation as far as drop scores go. Mark really getting away from this battle now. The significant thing, you might have expected him to be faster than these 3 cars because he was chomping at the bit to get past the 85 car, but he's pulling away. But the other point I was going to make was he's actually closing down on Peter Morris and Mark's son Jake, racing for 2nd and 3rd in the race, as Jesse Chamberlain dicing there with Paul Simpson. Simpson 2nd in the Class 2 Championship standings. 11 points down on Matt Kyle-Henney. And Mike Thompson now has got his mirrors full of that 21 car, and that is going to be for the podium position in Class 3. Vince Blacker debuted with us at Brands Hatch. What a place to have your debut. Sensational racing we had on the Grand Prix circuit. We're at Silverstone Grand Prix next time, supporting racing with the BRDC F3 Formula 3 Championship, which continues to showcase the rising stars of the single-seater world. Sarah Thompson still running well. John Newell in the 69 is behind, and up ahead of Sarah Scott Adams. Those 3 fairly evenly matched at the moment, and the Strasser Class 2 car of John Newell running well. 1 top 10 in class for John Newell so far this year. And Thompson coming under pressure. Now, as we look at the cars, you can see that the 21 Alistair Nelson is on the left-hand side of the track. It's the inside as they go up through Lakeside or Lakeview and into Shell Oil's corner. So he's got that. There is the 88 car running well. So making good progress here is Paul Simpson, up ahead now of Jesse Chamberlain, as you can see in white. So Paul Simpson having a good run. There is Richard Forber, leader in Class 3, and the car that he'll be looking out for is the Pink Pig. We're not going to get that shot though. Oh, and a problem for Paul Simpson in the 88 car. Kevin Molyneux goes back past, and we're going to see Paul Seagrave and Andy Muggeridge coming into shot as well. Andy Muggeridge, podium finisher in race 1 at Snetterton. Paul Simpson looking a little bit battle-scarred. Not his day so far, but whatever seems to be thrown at him by circumstance, he seems to fight back from it, or bounce back from it, and he's doing that at the moment. Looking at the outside line now of that Class 1 car. Paul Seagrave in the 996. We ride on board with Paul Seagrave now, coming down through Cascades, and Simpson goes through. Boxster makes good there on its return through the field. Carl Hazelton dicing with Julian Morris. Both of these Class 2 runners. Carl Hazelton fighting for 7th position in class at the moment, and Julian Morris has the upper hand, but Hazelton gets a very good run there, and he's going to go through, but he's on the outside line, inside for this little bit of track now, coming down into Cascades. Wide line here again, giving each other room. Missed the apex, but it is important to give each other room there. Angus Archer coming towards us. Richard Forber very nearly. And there's the Pink Pig. We said that what we were looking out for, the car's just gone out of shot. Leader in Class 3. The Pink Pig is in 2nd position from the back of the grid after shock absorber problems prevented any meaningful, well, any time on track in actual fact. So Will Heslop doing well to get on track for this race. The team getting him out. Matt Kyle-Henney is there and running 2nd in class at the moment. Toby Barlow having come through into the class lead. Vince Blacker, a little bit of decision needed there from Pete Morris, who goes to the inside. Jake McAleer, I think, was going to go to the outside originally. Toby Barlow just going out of shot now, the Class 2 leader. Matt Kyle-Henney is in second position. Third in the white 94 is Jesse Chamberlain. So good to see Jesse Chamberlain potentially on for his first podium in the championship here. So settling in extremely well into the championship. This is the battle for second place though. Pete Morris from Jake McAleer, and you can see that Mark McAleer has closed down on these. It wasn't hyperbole, he really is closing in on the battle for second position now, and on the grass goes the 88 car, and Paul Simpson wallops the Armco barrier, got sent across the track, just getting a wheel on the grass, dislodged the car, a heavy hit into the barrier. Very, very sadly, not what we wanted to see from any car, but Paul Simpson's been fighting back all the way through this race. So Paul Simpson is out of it. Three-way scrap for second position. Pete Morris is still there at the moment from Jake McAleer. Mark McAleer is next up. Out of Ireland they go into the Britain's chicane. Pete to some extent. Oh, Julian MORRIS parked up on the at the rear of shot there. Mark McAleer now having a go at his son. Gets a very good exit of Britain's now side by side on Hilltop down into the chicane. Jake McAleer has got the line though, won't have to defend too heavily. Mark takes the wider sweep, might get a bit more momentum out of Hislops, through Knickerbrook and up Clay Hill. Another car on the grass and spin for John Newell. Is he going to go in the tyre barrier? Oh no, the gravel trap did its job. That's why we have gravel trap, stop the car from going in the tyres, preventing further damage and slowing down. I can tell you we've got red flags. We've got a couple of strewn cars, including Paul Simpson. It's going to be red and I think checkered flag, and a fourth win of the season for Simon Clark. Toby Barlow leading Class 2 will take the honours there. Richard Forber will take the Class 3 honours. There's the red flag. They were in evidence but out of shot. So a premature end to race one of the weekend here at Oulton Park. Confirmation of the result. Simon Clark's fourth win of the year. Podium Pete Morris, 100th podium for him. Jake McAleer third from Mark McAleer and Richard BAYSTON. Class 2 going the way of Toby Barlow from Matt Kyle-Henney and Jesse Chamberlain. Class 3, Richard Forber winning from Will Heslop, with Alistair Nelson completing the podium for the Classic Boxsters.
Simon, fantastic win there in race one. I think that's your fourth of the season?
Yeah, it is, yeah.
Good, clean racing there and a fantastic overtake for the lead.
Yeah, I was pretty committed, and James and I raced fair together, and I think he realised that, so it was good. It was really good. It's a shame he had a problem actually, but I think he got back out, which is great. But yeah, it's a nice little spot to overtake there.
Great podium, but from a racing career with Porsche Club Championship, your 100th podium.
Yeah, I mean, if you did tell me earlier it was going to be 100th, that's normally a curse, but I sort of shut it out of my mind. But yeah, I knew it was, when I got past there I thought, yeah, that was the 100th podium, so I've been doing it a long time now, but I still love it, so I'm still enjoying the racing. Porsche Club GB is just such, power to weight and how it equalises. It's fair racing, and that's why I keep coming back. I've tried British GT and Carrera Cup before now, and I like to see a checkered flag, and this way I get a good chance. And yeah, I mean, the Caymans were light, fast off the start. Back markers weren't kind to me or Jake. We had a couple of moments. I was quite glad to see the flag come out at the end. And yeah, so I'm looking forward for the second race.
That was a busy race, especially at the start there. Lots of chopping and changing. Dad was behind you as well. How was it from the driver's seat?
Really, really busy. Exactly like you said, to be honest. I think it was a really good race. I obviously qualified in the wet this morning. We weren't too sure what our dry pace was going to be like. And I think we were less than a 10th off fastest up. So we're really enthusiastic with the pace around here, especially at Hartek's home track. Just Pete knows how to drive a wide 997.
So Snetterton, we saw a podium and a win there, and we're continuing with that success.
I know, right? Bit mad considering 6 on the grid. I thought at best we'd get third, but it's a great race overall. Fantastic battle with Paul again after Snetterton. Great battle with Jesse as well. I'd like to say to Jesse, well done, lad. That was that looked a handful for him. So really great he managed to get a podium as well. That's really good to see.
Well, that worked out pretty well, but Toby gives you a run for your money, doesn't he?
He does. He's very, very quick. He's done a lot of driver training over the winter and just got up another level. But yeah, in terms of pace, we had it. We weren't that far behind in raw pace. Just got a bit unlucky at the start of the race. Got boxed in the first quarter, and then I was on the outside for the second. So yeah, I lost quite a few positions, and then got a bit lucky as people fell off a bit further through the race. But P2 can't not be happy about that.
Excellent, well done on that one. A little bit of redesign in qualifying, you see on the front of the car, but it worked out well in the end.
Yeah, it did. In the end, we just went for a different look. It's. I have to say, I don't like it too much, but no, we had a big one this morning in quali. We've been struggling with brakes really badly yesterday, and this morning, obviously, the conditions weren't great. Very greasy, drying. But yeah, I mean, to come away with the podium, we led for 6 laps. But yeah, we just had to hold on to it. We held it together and yeah, got her across P3. So I'm quite happy with that.
So Class 3 winner, now that's a good ring to it. Now, how come you get one win the last round and suddenly they come a lot easier?
Getting through the Class 2 cars. You know, you've got to get through the Class 2 cars, and yeah, it's basically all in the first 2-3 corners. If you can get through them, it's not a problem. But if you bounce off them, you're losing 2, 3, 4 car lengths. So you know, it was just a case of getting through them, which I managed to do.
Kev, we saw you very briefly at Snetterton. You had an unfortunate incident there. Now, we've had a very tight timescale between then and now. So what's been going on? What's happened to the car since?
Oh, mate, yeah. So the lads, I've got to thank first AMS Porsche specialists. They got me back out. They've done the first week's work. My lads, Lee and Paul, absolutely same again, mechanic-wise. Essex Wraps sorted it the second week. And then we actually finished it Thursday night, 11 o'clock. And then we turned up here Friday morning. So, yeah, it was a real tight turnaround, to be honest. But I can't thank the lads enough for sorting it out.
Race 1 done. You came 4th in race 1, which is a very good comeback straight away. Start of the season, excellent results for you. So you're still up there amongst the top runners.
Oh, yeah, no, I was fine. It was just we had a wet quali. I got stuck in traffic and I couldn't get through, so I got 1 lap in, and that was it, really. So, unfortunately, I was back in the grid. So, but I got my way through and finished in 4th. Happy with that.
So it's been a while since we've caught up. No, we didn't have the advantage of being on the grid last year, but this year it's going pretty well so far.
Yeah, so far so good. Unfortunately, I haven't been at every round, but the ones we're doing, we seem to be heading in the right direction. Yeah, it's just good to be back after having a year off last year.
Snetterton was a good outing. You're in amongst the mix there?
Yeah, I've touched wood. I always go well at Snet. It's one of my locals, that and Brands. I do a lot of track days there, so I've got no excuses. Just I know it quite well. Touch wood, it's just always been a good place for me.
Now, Oulton Park usually becomes a driver's favourite because of all the twists and cambers and so forth, but a little bit of bad luck in race 1 there, a little bit of blockage stopped your progress.
Yeah, it was just, in honesty, it's a bit of a messy start with wet and dry and all the rest of it, and then Bill CALEY stalled on the grid, and there's a bit of a traffic jam behind him, and a load of Class 3s got past me. It took me sort of a good 2 or 3 laps to clear them, and then by then everyone else had disappeared, and I was a bit lonely. So we've got you for the remaining rounds of the season, hopefully, so realistic aims? To be honest with you, just sort of try and develop on what we've done already, move on. We've got 1 podium at Snetterton, and try and do a few more of those, and then look to have a proper go at next year.
Simon Clark, championship leader, only his 2nd pole position of the season. Jake McAleer lines up alongside. James CALEY is 3rd on the grid. Pete Morris to his outside, then Mark McAleer and Chris Dyer. Class 2 headed by Matt Kyle-Henney from Paul Simpson, Bill CALEY and Andy Muggeridge. Toby Barlow and Jess Chamberlain are next up. Richard Forber, Class 3, pole position from Mike Thompson, Stephen Shaw and Alistair Nelson. William Heslop with the work to do once again from the back of the field. We're looking forward to round 8 of the championship. The lights are on, a longish wait from the race officials. Out go the lights and off go the cars from the grid. Jake McAleer very quick out of the block. So too is Pete Morris ahead of us in that front row. We were looking to the left. He's now on the right on the outside line and challenging to get up into P2. Will Heslop's cleared 2 cars already off the grid. So everybody through turn 1, Old Hall safely, down through into Cascades. James CALEY, 4th position. Mark McAleer behind him, but it's Simon Clark, the race leader, in the distance, stretching his legs, and a nice wide camera angle here to show you the entire field. What a superb sight they make along Lakeside. Now watch from the left, we've got 3 cars together. Will Heslop on the inside here, that's the outside as they go around the left-hander up towards Shell Oil's corner where we are now. Richard BAYSTON ahead of Rich Ellis, then Matt Kyle-Henney, who leads Class 2. Jesse Chamberlain second at the moment. Third is Andy Muggeridge. Andy with 1 podium to his credit so far this year. Race 1 at Snetterton. So a good start from Andy Muggeridge. The race leader in Class 3 is Richard Forber. And we ride in car with Julian MORRIS, busy chasing as they all sort themselves out on lap 1. Up to Hilltop, down the hill. Simon Clark's already there. Jake McAleer annexing second from Pete Morris. Then it is James CALEY. Bill CALEY getting a good run in this one, by the way, as well. So good to see Bill getting some mileage under his belt after the frustrations of race number 1. Will Heslop about to try and close down on Steve Morrison. Morrison running in the Class 2 Boxster. Mike Thompson, great podium battle for Mike Thompson. It ended up in 4th position for him. He's had 3 podia so far this year, Mike Thompson, so championship-wise, one of the contenders for sure. Really only out of the top positions in the championship due to a non-finish, but when drop scores kick in, he'll be back in the mix as Jake McAleer is chased by Pete Morris. Mark McAleer busy working hard as well. Stephen Shaw looks on the inside line of Julian MORRIS, gets it done. So Stephen Shaw running well, and so too is Steve Morrison, who goes down the inside line. So some good battling going on here. Will Heslop in the mix with that as well. Goes to the from the inside to the outside line, and again 3 wide for the second time. Stephen Shaw, the meat in the sandwich. If the pink pig had been in the middle, it would have been a ham sandwich, but it isn't. Heslop clears it and goes through, not afraid of being 3 wide or going on the outside line as he tries to chase down Richard Forber, the class leader, to defend his championship lead. Alistair Nelson second in class, championship points wise, coming here this weekend from Richard Forber. Nelson on 182 points, Forber on 177, and Stephen Shaw in the barrier. Not what we wanted to see. The 49 car. Such a shame for Stephen Shaw in Class 3. Are we now going to see the race brought under caution? There will certainly be yellow flags there. I would say that Simon Clark's got probably about 1/3 of a lap over where that incident was, and that gives the race organisers time to assess what's going on, assess the reports from the marshals at the track as well, that part of the circuit, and decide whether they do need to perhaps even bring the race to a standstill. Through on the inside goes Mark McAleer past James CALEY, who said you don't have overtaking in Porsche racing. And at Oulton Park, Stephen Shaw is okay. He's going to be very cross about what happened. But that car, the Shaw Aid team, of course, put a wonderful car together. I'm sure that will be in fine fettle for Silverstone next time out. I go back to the point about overtaking. You see it plenty in this championship, and properly done, and that's the second great overtake we've seen from Mark McAleer in this meeting. Coming towards us, Bill CALEY getting lappery. Angus Archer next up. There is Richard Forber, the leader in Class 3, through Deer Leap. Onto the start-finish straight. Straight-ish, I guess you have to say. Carl Hazelton in white down behind this trio at the moment. Richard Forber punching above his weight, really, you have to say. Always very happy, Richard Forber. Great guy to chat to. Scott Adams up ahead of Sarah Thompson. Sarah 8th in class in race number 1. This is only her 4th start in the championship. She's done 9th, 7th and 8th in class so far, her results, but learning all the time, which is superb. Scott Adams has been away for a little bit, of course, but great to have him back, and he was 7th in class in race number 1. Back with our leaders coming down from Hilltop, though, and it's Simon Clark from Jake McAleer. Pete Morris under pressure now from Mark McAleer, who's doing what he did in race number 1, getting the bit between his teeth, getting a pass done, getting his foot down, closing up on this is a classic Porsche Club Championship battle between 2 of the greats from this championship. Mark McAleer busy chasing Pete Morris, and he has a look down the inside line as Mark McAleer, having made 1 great pass already, is putting Peter Morris under pressure, and Pete soaking up the pressure, as ever he does in superb style. Sometimes it'll be the other way round. It'll be Pete nibbling away at Mark McAleer. They're both trying to close in on Mark's son Jake, who is there in the Cayman. It's the Cayman 1-2 at the moment. 997's third and fourth. And Pete Morris summed it up in the interview, didn't he, after race one, about saying that it's all about the power to weight ratio in this championship, and things evened out very well indeed. There is Andy Muggeridge, third, chasing the white car of Jesse Chamberlain. Toby Barlow is next up. Toby very complimentary about Jesse struggling with his car in race number one after an off in qualifying, and Toby having a look at Andy Muggeridge. We have got a safety car. So the organisers, I think Stephen Shaw was okay, but the organisers, the race officials, just deciding that it's a good idea to get that cleared. Everybody had seen the waved yellows where that car came to a halt there, just on the way into Shell Oil's corner. But to prevent any potential problem, safety car. The safety car lights are now out and we're ready to go racing once again. Simon Clark won't be nervous about this position at all. It has closed the field up, so we might see some place swaps. They'll have been trying to keep as much heat in the tyres as they can here. It's dried up from what we had earlier on. It was a wet qualifying session, as you heard from Jake McAleer. Richard BAYSTON ready to go. Very quick off the mark is Richard BAYSTON, as he was in race number one. Dives down the inside line of Chris Dyer and makes up a position, but runs wide. A little bit too much momentum, and the two Strasser teammates getting involved. Chris Dyer gets back in front. Lovely bit of racing off the restart. Richard BAYSTON, maybe just a little bit too much momentum, but a very quick restart from him. Bit of a wake up for Chris Dyer. Chris 10th in race number one. There's Rich Ellis in the number three, up ahead of Matt Kyle-Henney. Still got the, as you would expect, the Class 2 runners all together after that safety car. It was beginning to open out a little bit just before the safety car. And we'll have more for you from Oulton Park after the break. Richard BAYSTON up ahead of Chris Dyer, with Rich Ellis in the mix as well in the number three. Then the Class 2 battle. Matt Kyle-Henney in yellow and black. Jesse Chamberlain. Andy Muggeridge there in 17 is third. Toby Barlow is next up, followed by Paul Seagrave in the Class 1 car. Then the green Boxster of Kevin Molyneux. Kevin currently fifth in class, and he wants to clear the Class 1 car if he can to join in the podium battle for Class 2. All good close stuff though. Richard BAYSTON starting to get away. Chris Dyer not looking the happiest at the moment. Lovely move there by Rich Ellis through on the inside line. Makes up a position. Jesse Chamberlain's damaged car. Damage that really started with the qualifying session this morning. Mark McAleer making a move on Pete Morris, and I think has gone through. McAleer, another pass from Mark McAleer as Chris Dyer comes into the pit lane, just right at the back of shot. May have missed that. I just picked it up myself. Andy Muggeridge still running in second, looking for another podium to add to his collection. There is Pete Morris in the number two. James CALEY now chasing him down. So Pete's got that 100th podium in the bag. I'm not sure there was any pressure about it. He did say put it out of his mind, and you know, it's just a stat. Stephen Shaw's car still there, but in a safer position than it would have been prior to the instigation of the safety car for sure. Out of Britain's we go. Mark McAleer trying to close down on his son. There is Simon Clark, the race leader in the Thomson Reuters car. Jake McAleer second, Mark McAleer third, then Peter Morris followed by James CALEY. James will gladly take the knowledge of his pole position in a very difficult qualifying session this morning. Conditions were not ideal at all, so hats off to James CALEY for doing that, and that's a good thing to have on your stats, that first pole position. Mark McAleer got the first three poles of the year. Simon Clark was pole for race 2 at Brands. Then Pete Morris pole in race 1 at Snetterton. Jake McAleer pole in race 2. James CALEY getting one this weekend with Simon Clark. So they've been shared out amongst the drivers. They've all been working hard to get up to the top, and again it just underlines the competitive nature. We've seen that in all three classes over the course of the season so far. That's why many drivers, want to come and race in this championship. There is Bill CALEY. A little moment from Richard Forber, a little wobble there from Richard. So Bill CALEY gets past the leading Class 3 car. Nice to see Bill getting some laps under his belt here after effectively a DNS at the start of this race. 3 DNFs otherwise on the bounce, and you need to have consistent finishes to get championship momentum and confidence going, as we watch Angus Archer running well, 6 in race number 1. Good to have him back in the championship as well. John Newell up ahead of Scott Adams, then Peter Evans busy chasing hard, as is Sarah Thompson in yellow. Sarah running on her own at the moment, not far away from that battle out front. And Sarah, as much as anything, as a new driver working on improving lap times, learning the tracks, learning the car. So Adams goes through first of all, then Peter Evans goes through and past John Newell. Back with our outright top 5, James CALEY putting the pressure on Peter Morris, now the PMC car in another battle here. So Pete Morris doesn't at the moment look like it's going to be a 101st podium, but stranger things have happened in Porsche Club Championship racing. CALEY chases uphill, great in-car shot, showing you the gradients at this wonderful Oulton Park race circuit. So well looked after by Jonathan Palmer and the MSV team. One of the best things to happen to British racing was Jonathan Palmer's team taking over the tracks, and everything clean, everything tidy. You're looked after. It's a splendid day out wherever you go, whichever circuit you go to. The very best in racing entertainment put on as well. Top 3 drivers go past our pit wall camera, and it is still Simon Clark out front. Jake McAleer closing him down, keeps popping in a better lap time, and then Clark responds a little bit, and McAleer tries to close up again. We're back with the Class 2 battle, and Jesse Chamberlain under a bit of pressure here from Andy Muggeridge, so nice to see Andy right on it at the moment. Matt Kyle-Henney still out front. Really weird to think that Matt's only had, as I say, that one class win so far this year in the opening race of the season, but he's been fast and he's been consistent as well, and he's knocking on the door of that outright championship lead. He's only 4 points away coming into the meeting from Simon Clark. Simon would have stretched that a little bit in race number 1, and it will be equal, of course, taking class win here, but it's based on when you get your entries in and how many people there are starting in your class as well. So got a good entry in Class 2 for the remaining rounds of the season, and we could well see Matt Kyle-Henney take the outright championship, as Barry said in the interviews. Here is Steve Morrison, still up ahead of Julian MORRIS. Simon Clark still there, and Jake McAleer, you can see he's not letting him go. McAleer consistently quick, so too is Mark McAleer. I'm kind of getting the feeling here that Mark McAleer is getting the momentum going again after Snetterton. Every driver normally has a bumpy round at some point. If Snetterton was the bumpy round for Mark McAleer, he's kind of drawn a line under that and shown terrific racecraft and race pace this weekend. Still the battle on for second in Class 2. Still Matt Kyle-Henney in yellow and black, who leads the SW Engineering car across the line from Jesse Chamberlain. A very welcome addition to the championship is Jesse. Look at the Class 2s, not that far behind the Class 1s. Toby Barlow 4th. Kevin Molyneux has closed up on them. He's in 5th place, so Kevin Molyneux closing up on these guys. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to get into the podium battle, but betting himself in well. There is Will Heslock, second again in Class 3 and chasing Richard Forber. A little bit further back, Stephen Morrison under pressure from Alistair Nelson. Class 3 car chasing Class 2. Good inter-class battling going on between these drivers, but down from Hilltop again into the chicane, Simon Clark, the Thomson Reuters car, looking for another win to add to the collection. The reigning champion. It was a limited campaign last year. He would, I know, dearly love to successfully. And that's scary. Sarah Thompson's car. It's out of harm's way. I hope Sarah is out of harm's way as well. I suspect that will at the very least be a safety car. We've had one already. It might be red and checker again. We'll have to wait and see. Sarah's okay. That's the good news. And the marshals on scene, coolly dealing with that. Thank you, as ever, to our marshals and rescue crews. So many people involved in race making. There's the red flag again. And also, James CALEY off the track as well. So the result will be declared. It will go back a lap before the incident, which means that Simon Clark takes the win from Jake McAleer, double for Simon Clark. Jake McAleer second from Mark McAleer, Pete Morris, James CALEY fifth from Richard BAYSTON and Rich Ellis. Class 2, Matt Kyle-Henney from Jess Chamberlain, Andy Muggeridge and Toby Barlow in fourth place. Class 3 won by Richard Forber from Will Heslop, Alistair Nelson and Mike Thompson in fourth.
The leadership of the championship is tightened even more because of the Class 2s.
Yeah, so it's really tight. But as I said earlier, it is why we're here. You know, it's not easy. It's not easy, this championship, and that's part of the fun. It's just a case of just trying to get just as many points as you can every weekend. We've missed out on fastest lap in race 2 to Jake, and we missed out on pole this morning. But I can't really argue with the result. Really pleased.
I really thought we stood a chance to win that one, but not to be, sadly.
Another couple of laps would have been a different story.
I think so. I felt like we were really in the ascendancy towards the end of the race, and then hit the back marks, and I think got one or two badly and just got out of rhythm, and then the gap started to open up a little bit. But it was such a good race, and the progress we've made with the Cayman since last year here is incredible. So big thanks to the boys at Hardtech for that.
Well, mixed bag of a season and a very well-deserved podium. Well done.
Cheers, thank you very much. Yeah, I mean, it's been a funny old day today. Obviously better than Snetterton where we had a nightmare, but I was hoping maybe the better things of today. But at the end of the day, to get a podium at the end of the day, well, you know, we're happy enough with that. The exhaust started to blow, and obviously we lost a little bit of power.
I was hoping for some more laps. I didn't realise that was an exhaust problem.
Yeah, we had a bit of the exhaust started to blow, probably just over halfway through, and just out the slower corners, it just lacked that little bit of urgency, if you know what I mean. So, but we managed to hang on. We got there at the end, so yeah, we still got a podium. So happy with that.
That's going to do wonders for the championship. Yeah, held on good first sort of stint of the race, and then safety car came out, and I lost the gap that I built up. So I had to manage that a little bit. Yeah, I made a few mistakes. The tyres were done. Had 4 races, so yeah, pleased with that. Very pleased.
That is for my boys, because they have worked their absolute socks off this weekend. So massive thank you to them and all the partners as well. But yeah, what a day! What a day!
2 podiums. You can't really get much better than that. So on to Silverstone next. Have you ever done the GP?
I have, yes, I have. I tested a Cayman 718 GT4, which we ran really well. So yeah, I'm familiar with Silverstone. Really cool layout. I like Silverstone. Who doesn't?
Andy, great third place there on the podium. A busy day and plenty of action in that last one.
Yeah, really close race. There was Matt and Jess in front of me, and Toby behind me. It's just really close. Great racing. There was nothing between the cars. Some were quicker in some places, some were quicker in other places. So it meant we were sort of constantly up each other's rear and having great racing. So it's great fun.
Alistair, 2 podiums this weekend. That's a good weekend.
It certainly is, yeah. I mean, with it being our home circuit, we were hoping for a good finish, and yeah, we can't complain with two podium finishes. It's a good result.
3 events still to go, but your season's going pretty well so far.
Yeah, we've been quite fortunate to finish on the podium every race of the season so far. I think we were second in the championship coming into it, but with Richard winning both, I think we'll move down into 3rd place. But it's still going well. We're happy with that.
Simon Clark extends the championship lead from 10 points to 26 here at Oulton Park. Pete Morris second from Mark McAleer. Jake McAleer 4th ahead of James CALEY. In Class 2, Matt Kyle-Henney still chasing the overall championship lead. Kevin Molyneux goes up to 2nd in Class 2 ahead of Paul Simpson, then Andy Muggeridge and Carl Hazelton in 5th. Class 3 headed still by Will Heslop from Richard Forber and Alistair Nelson in 3rd. Some well-deserved podium presentations completed the day here at Oulton Park. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time at Silverstone.